Hey there, hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is factors governing the selection of a particular type of dam. Whenever we decide to construct a dam at a particular place, the first baffling problem which faces us is to choose the kind of dam. Which type will be the most suitable and most economical? Two or three kinds of dams may be technically feasible, but only one of them will be most economical. Various designs and their estimates have to be prepared before signaling one particular type. Various factors which must be thoroughly considered before selecting one particular type of dam are described. The first one is topography. Topography dictates the first choice of the type of dam. For example, a narrow U-shaped valley, that is the narrow stream flowing between high rocky walls, would suggest a concrete overflow dam. A low rolling plain country would naturally suggest an earth-filled dam with a separate spillway. The availability of spillway site is very important while selecting a particular kind of dam. A narrow V-shaped valley indicates the choice of an arch dam. It is preferable to have the top of the width of the valley less than one-fourth of its height, but a separate site for the spillway must also be available. The next point is geology and the foundation conditions. The foundations have to carry weight of the dam. The dam site must be thoroughly surveyed by geologists to detect the thickness of foundation strata, presence of faults, fissured materials, and their permeability, slope, and slip. The various kinds of foundation generally encountered are discussed. Solid rock foundations, granite and gneiss may be its example. These kinds of foundation have a strong bearing power. They offer high resistance to erosion and percolation. Almost every kind of dam can be built on such these foundations. Sometimes seams and fractures are present in these rocks. They must be grouted and sealed properly. In case of gravel foundation, coarse sands and gravels are unable to bear the weight of the high concrete gravity dams and are suitable for earthen and rock-filled dams. Low concrete gravity dams up to a height of 15 meter may also be suggested on such foundations. These foundations have a high permeability and therefore subjected to water percolation at high rates. Suitable cutoffs must be provided to avoid danger for undermining. In case of sealed and fine sand foundation, they suggest the adoption of earth dams or very low gravity dams up to a height of 8 meter. A rock-filled dam on such a foundation is not suitable. Seepage through such a foundation may be excessive. Settlement may also be a problem. They must be properly designed to avoid such dangers. The protection of foundations at the downstream toe from the erosion must be also ensured. In case of clay foundations, unconsolidated and high moisture clays are likely to cause enormous settlement of the dam. They are not fit for concrete gravity dams or rock-filled dams. They may be accepted for earthen dams, that too after special treatment. In geology and foundation conditions, the next point is non-uniform foundation. At certain places, an uniform foundation of the types described above may not be available. In such a case, non-uniform foundation of rock and soft material may have to be used if the dam is to be built. Such unsatisfactory conditions have to be dealt with by special designs. However, every problem is an individual problem and the solution has to be found by experienced engineers. For example, the Jawahar Sagar Dam in Rajasthan offered such a problem. A bed of clay was encountered between the base of the dam and solid rock foundation. It was not economically feasible to remove the clay bed. The solution adopted was to anchor the base of the dam to the foundation below by means of prestressed cables. The next point is the availability of materials. In order to achieve economy in the dam, the materials required for its construction must be available locally or at short distances from the construction site. Sometimes good solid is easily available, which naturally calls for an earthen dam. If sand, cement, and stone, etc., are easily available, one should naturally think of a concrete gravity dam. If the material has to be transported from far off distances, then a hollow concrete dam, that is buttress, is the best choice. The next point is spillway size and location. Spillway, as defined earlier, deposes the surplus river discharge. The capacity of spillway will depend on the magnitude of the floods to be bypassed. The spillway will therefore become much more important on stream with large flood potentials. On such rivers, the spillway may become dominant structure and the type of dam may become secondary consideration. The cost of constructing a separate spillway may be enormous, or sometimes a suitable separate site for a spillway may not be available. In such cases, combining the spillway and the dam into one structure may be desirable, indicating the adoption of a concrete overflow dam. Next point is earthquake zone. If the dam is to be situated in an earthquake zone, its design must include the earthquake forces. Its safety should be ensured against the increased risk induced by an earthquake of worst intensity. The type of structures best suited to resist earthquake shocks without danger are earthen dams and concrete gravity dams. The next point is height of the dam. Earthen dams are usually not provided for heights more than 30 meter or so. Hence, for greater heights, gravity dams are generally preferred. And the last point is other considerations. Various other factors such as the lift of the dam, the width of the roadway to be provided over the dam, problem of skilled laborers, legal and aesthetic points must also be considered before a final decision is taken. Overall cost of construction and maintenance and the funds available will finally decide the choice of particular kind of a dam at a particular place.